I am live. It's almost 5:30 here. Oh man, I think I'm gonna go a little lower. No, I think that's good. So yeah, guys, I sold. Okay, so I'm talking to myself. Let's see how long it takes to see if anyone decides to come on or sees that I'm live. I'm getting kind of close to doing this at 4 o'clock, but not quite Pacific Standard Time. But I try to do that. So the name of this particular video is I sold 2 VHS tapes on eBay. This one in my hand I have not sold yet because I still have it in my possession. But the reason why I named the video that is because I did sell 2 VHS tapes on eBay. But the other reason was, and why it caught my attention, is because I only listed 3. These were VHS tapes I had sitting out in a tub, my patio. I believe I had listed them in a lot, and for whatever reason they did not sell. And I was cleaning up in the back there. Oh, how you doing, man? And I was coming across all this stuff that I needed to deal with. Either it was just sitting there, so I needed to donate it. I needed to try to sell it, throw it out, whatever. So I found some of the stuff had gotten damaged somehow, but I found these back there, and I listed all 3 of the VHS tapes, including some other stuff. And I sold one like within a day, and then another one within a day or 2 after that, over the weekend, I believe. Yeah, over this weekend. And this is the last one here, this Barney in concert. And they were, all 3 of them were, I should actually said that there were kids VHS tapes, but anyway, I can change the title later. But they were all kids tapes, which is what I've done really well with. That's probably one of the better genres for VHS tapes, whether it's Amazon or eBay. And I really had most of my experience doing FBA with it. But yeah, I just, what do you call it? These were ones, I guess, that, weren't good enough for FBA, especially with the higher fees now. Kind of have to have something that sells for definitely over $10 for a VHS tape, but I would say more closer to like $15 or so. And it's harder to find those. They're out there, but it's harder to find those for sure. I used to be able to sell like, okay, so I listed 2 Barney tapes and then a Blues Clues tape. And I sold a Barney tape and a Blues Clues tape. The Blues Clues sold for, I think, $6.99 and the Barney for $8.99. So those aren't bad at all when you consider that you can get a VHS tape at a thrift store from anywhere from like 25 cents to $1. Probably $1 is on the high side in my experience, at least in where I live in my region. So you can find a lot of, and typically thrift stores have a lot of VHS tapes. Sometimes they even probably get rid of them because a lot of people don't buy them. They're not that popular. And I'm not suggesting that you focus on VHS tapes, but I just thought it was fascinating that I sold 2 out of 3 on eBay pretty quickly. And also the other little tidbit is that after I listed those, I counted them up and I listed 63 video games. Most of them were PC video games. I listed them on eBay. There were probably about, I don't know, half a dozen or more that were PS1 games, but most of them were PC games. And out of those 63, I've sold, oh, how you doing, man? Long time. Out of those 63, I've sold 6 video games. So far, so basically, compared to the video games, the VHS tapes have been moving a lot faster than the PC games. But I've had that experience in the past where the video games are a little bit slower, at least the PC ones. The PlayStation 1 type of stuff tends to move a little faster. I've already sold a couple of those. Yeah, I came back, started doing some live videos. So, but yeah, what did Rap Nerd said? I'd like to get started selling on eBay also. I only do FBA for now. Yeah, I was only doing FBA for, let's see, from 2014 until last year. So what is that? Almost 3 years, close to 3 years. I just did FBA, and I started doing a little bit of merchant fulfilled, but basically Amazon. And then once I got into bulk, I realized I had to start I had to have another outlet for stuff I could not sell on Amazon. So I started eBay in April of last year. And since then I've gone from only listing a handful of stuff to now having over 500. For a while now, I've had over 400 items listed, and I get daily sales. Usually, it's rare. There's rarely a day I don't get at least one sale, but it kind of fluctuates all over the place. I'm still figuring out eBay. Amazon makes way more sense to me because I've said this before in previous videos, and I'll keep saying it because there's a lot more data, between the sales rank and the Keepa charts, and all the competition, that sort of thing. There's a lot of information that you can so you can figure out how often something sells and whether it's worth selling or not. Oh, JD, so I sold a blues. So they were kids VHS tapes. I should put that. I don't think I can change the title in here, but they were. It was Blues Clues. So all of them are kids tapes. Blues Clues was $6.99, and then I sold a Barney tape for $8.99. And then I have this one up for $11.99, which is Barney in concert. I've done pretty well with the kids VHS tapes. The best categories for me for VHS when I was doing on Amazon, and I'm sure it applies to eBay too, are kids tapes. Not all of them. Of course, eBay you can do lots, but individually, some of the kids tapes will do. Barney does well. Will do well. Barney does well. Blues Clues. There's a few others. I sold a Gymboree tape on Amazon for like $30 or $40 a few years ago. And then there's like some workout tapes and some older like rare movies that are only on VHS, like some horror stuff and a lot of random titles like that. But also there's stuff like certain documentaries, certain live events are only on VHS tape. Basically, if it's something that you can only find on VHS and it's not available on DVD or streaming or anything, you're going to be good. There's going to be a higher probability that it's going to be worth your time to sell or look into. So it was just funny to me comparing I'm hoping that the PC games will just sell slowly over time. That's kind of my hope with that. Most of them were priced. I'm trying to keep them priced above like $7, $8, not go too far below that on average. Unless it's something that I know they can sell really quickly. Like I sold what is that? What is that one called? I have to look it up. San Andreas or something like that. Let's see. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, let's see. Was it Grand Theft? Yeah, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas PS2. I sold it for $6.49. So the PC games I sold Strike Fighters. I don't know what that is. Well, no, actually, the first one I sold was Rugrats in Paris. It was a PS1 game for $6.99. And then I sold Strike Fighters Project 1 PC game for $7.99. I sold Grand Theft Auto for $6.49. And then I sold Command and Conquer Red Alert 2 for $8.99. And then I sold a SpongeBob SquarePants for $10.79. Grand Theft Auto Greatest Hits PlayStation 1 for $10.99. So these have been pretty decent. Decent sales. I mean, the thing is, like, these are from Gaylord, so there's always video games mixed in with the CDs when I get only CDs on a Gaylord, and it's a lot of PC games, and then there's a good amount of PS1, PS2 type of games, mostly PS1, and then there's some other like Xbox type of stuff in there usually, but yeah. So I mean, I paid hardly anything for them, so to turn around and sell them for anywhere between like $7 to $10 or $11 is a great return. Yeah. I was selling. I sold. Excuse me. Kofi says deja vu for me because when I first started watching your YouTube channel, you also sold a Blues Clues tape. I did. I sold like 130 or so VHS tapes on Amazon. And then I stopped focusing on it or stopped really doing much of it. But yeah, I sold a good amount of Blues Clues and Barney and that type of stuff. I could go back and look at my Excel spreadsheet. I have all of the VHS stuff that I sold, but a lot of it was kid stuff. Yeah, it's I've come full circle now. Now I mean, those are the only ones I have for sale on eBay though. So I don't even know if I have any VHS tapes. I know I sent one in like within the last month, but I don't know. I'd have to look to see if it sold. It was a higher priced, like a rare VHS that was what had a demand, but didn't have very many copies on Amazon or eBay. Let's see. Blue's Clues. Okay, so yeah, so basically that's about that. The video games and the VHS tapes. So I mean, I did a quick little. Oh, cool, Leanne. What genre was it? Was it a rare movie? Was it a kids tape? Was it um, workout tape? Like what genre? I'd be curious to know. Um, so some Zorro something. Was that for kids or was it a movie? Yeah, I would say just, like I've said before, if you're doing books on Amazon FBA, um, it's good to diversify within books. So, do all types of books, get into fiction as well, learn what is good fiction to look for. I sell fiction on Amazon FBA. It's usually stuff that sells really quick for lower profit, like $2, $3, $4, pure profit. Oh, not for kids. Okay. Okay. Well, but you learn a lot of not just nonfiction, learn what's good to look at in fiction. Um, just get better at, textbooks, school books, cookbooks, whatever it is. And then beyond that, if you can do VHS tapes on Amazon. So like Leanne found a VHS tape. So if you go to a thrift store, um, look at that. See? Yeah, yeah, cool. Totally cool. Robert says that he bought a brand new Richard Simmons VHS tape and the wrapping for 25 cents. That's what I mean. There's not very much value placed on VHS tapes. It's kind of a joke. If you tell somebody, yeah, I sell some VHS tapes on Amazon, they'll probably be shocked that you can even buy a VHS tape on Amazon. Forget that people are actually want to buy it, that it's something that people actually desire, but people don't realize that there's a lot of tapes that are a lot of programming that never made it off of VHS tape and didn't get to DVD, and you just have to. That's where you have to buy it. So he says he spent 25 cents and it sold on FBA within a week for $27.99. You can't beat that. I mean, what's that return, right? FBA or Amazon took their chunk, but you make, $20 or whatever, $18 off of 25 cents. That's the thing, diversify. So you can sell VHS tapes on Amazon. You don't have to get ungated for that, as far as I understand, at least not yet, knock on wood. So I would definitely keep your eyes open when you're out there sourcing for books, when you're hitting the thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, book sales. There's going to be VHS tapes. So just get familiar with them. I would look for some of those rare type of stuff. Yeah, $6. Yeah, there you go. $20, 25 cents into $20, $21. That's just another weapon, another way to diversify your Amazon income. So if you're like 95% books, but you have 5%, VHS tapes, and the thing is, if you can find these more high value, high profit VHS tapes, you don't have to find that many for it to make a difference. You can send in a couple every time you send in a shipment. Keep your eye out for them, and the more it'll take, like a couple months or so of looking through VHS tapes, and the more experience you get, the more you get in. The easier it'll be to just look at a shelf of VHS tapes and know what you shouldn't waste your time on, because most of them have barcodes, so you can just scan them. They're pretty easy that way. But there's a lot of them that you don't want to waste your time. Like if you see, Ferris Bueller's Day Off or some mainstream movie, you're not gonna want to waste your time. So you're gonna want to look at the stuff that stands out, and there's things that will stand out the longer you do it. So yeah, I would just do it whether you're doing it for Amazon or for eBay or both. There's some stuff that maybe is not worth for FBA, worth it, but maybe it'll be worth it on eBay as well. So that's just ways to diversify, basically. There's a lot. I mean, I went on to Craigslist, and there's a lot. A lot of people try to sell these Disney classics on VHS, and some of those might be worth some money, but be careful with those because some of those. Okay, here's one that I found an ad where somebody has over 1,500 VHS tapes in original shells, so original sleeves. They wanted the absurd number of $900, which no one's going to pay them. But if they were reasonable and they were to sell them for maybe like, I don't know, a couple $100, then they'd be able to find somebody. Yeah, you can just go on Craigslist and even look to see how many VHS tapes are available. And you'll find all different types. But you don't even have to do that. You can just go into thrift stores. So I would just kind of, make that another weapon and diversify. And you'll be surprised what you find. I mean, Leanne found something, and Robert, talking about Richard Simmons. I think I only sold a couple Richard Simmons tapes. Most of them are not worth very much money, but there are, especially if you find a new, still sealed. I wouldn't list it new, but you could list it like new. But regardless, whether you list it like new or new, there's still, if it's brand new or in excellent shape. But I would say overall, the Richard Simmons stuff I found was not worth it. But there are some. He made so many of them. But there's other. I can't. There's some Jane Fonda. I think I sold 1 or 2 Jane Fondas that were worth some good money, over $20. But a lot of her stuff too was saturated, so there was too much of it out there, so it wasn't as rare. But there were a couple other workout tapes that I can't remember off the top of my head, but that as you start to go through them, you'll figure them out. Kofi says, I just remembered that I am ungated for CDs, and so I started to list some, but it looks like I'm restricted on a lot of CDs. Do you have that issue? Fortunately, I do not. I think that's when Amazon implemented the popular titles restriction, which I still don't understand what they mean. And certain people, it seemed, were getting restricted on certain titles, not all of them. Are you finding that you're restricted on the majority of the ones that you're trying to list? Or is it the minority? What would you say? Because I don't know why, but it's just certain titles that some people are restricted on. It's really strange. Yeah, Denise Austin. She was another workout one. Yeah. I don't know if I have that here. I'm looking for, on a spreadsheet, I might have VHS tapes. Oh, wait, here it is. Oh, that's not it. I'm live. All right. Oh, here it is. Okay, so let's see. Let me look for workout tapes. Oh, that's funny. Barney in Concert is the one that I have up for sale on eBay. I sold on Amazon for $9.98. Denise Austin's Step Workout. I sold that for $11.98. Let's see, just real quick here. Oh, Tony Little's personal trainer VHS videos. I guess there were 3 tapes for $12.95. Another Denise Austin. That one was $9.49. Oh, here was the one. Stormy. I don't know how you say this. Omartian. Omartian. I think she also writes books, like religious themed books. Stormy Omartian's low impact aerobic workout video I sold for $29.99. So look out for those. Here's the Gymboree one, $29.95. So yeah, $30. Most of this other stuff is, here's one, Jane Fonda's. That only sold for $9 though. Step aerobic and abdominal workout. Oh, jeez. Muscle Motion featuring the men from Chippendales was for $19.95. All right. So, so yeah, I guess that's enough about VHS unless you have more questions. The other thing I sold, or I listed on eBay was, let's see, Robert said, if you're ungated for video games, keep your eye out for them. At my Goodwill the other day, I stopped in right before they closed and someone had just donated 7 PS4 games. FBA profit should be 200 plus. How much did you, that's awesome, Robert. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love video games. I sent one in one of my last, I think I listed it for close to $60, like $55 or something like that. One of those, a lot of those older the PS1 games. Oh, look at that, 50 cents a piece. Yeah, I don't find too many PS4 games in the Gaylords, but you can definitely find them. I would say aside from books, the big stuff is, yeah, video games for sure. If you want to get into vinyl, I mean, we could go into vinyl too, but vinyl's another one. Although I think if you're gated, actually, if you're gated in music, you might not be able to do vinyl, but you can definitely do video games. You can do VHS tapes. Yeah, for sure, Robert. So I sold, or okay, so I had in the back there amongst my other stuff on the patio, I had a crate of Christmas CDs, and I had them there for months because I wasn't sure if I wanted to just get rid of them or wait until closer to Christmas and try to sell them in lots on eBay. So when I was cleaning up back there and just basically picking everything up and saying, okay, either I'm getting rid of it or I'm selling it. I decided to try to sell it, and I made, I guess, 7 different Christmas lots. And just today I sold 4 of them. One did not sell. I mean, and one did not sell, and then one has a bid that's going to sell, and then there's another one that doesn't have any bids. So 5 basically of the 7 I've sold, and I think, let's see. So I sold 10 countries. So I grouped them into, I tried to have like themes, but I found that there were enough country Christmas CDs. So I put those together, 10 of them, and that sold for $5.50. Again, it's not a lot of money, but versus just, having it sit in my patio or donating it, I'd rather just have it go to somebody who's going to use it, and I make a little bit of money. The other one, I hardly made anything off of. It was, I started the bidding at $149, and there was just one bid of $149 for 25 Christmas CDs. The other one, though, did really well. I had 36 Christmas CDs. And I don't know why this one did so well, but I had, let me see how many bids. 10 bids. And it started at, where is it? I think it started at $149, and then it ended up going up to $22. So, I mean, those were 36 CDs that were just sitting there, not making me any money, taking up space, being a headache. And so I just grouped them together the best I could. And I sold 5 of the lots, of the 7 lots so far. We'll see. I think I have another. Yeah, this one is ending in an hour. It has 1 bid, and then there's another one that's ending in an hour. It has no bids, so we'll see. But so for eBay, I'm still learning, but I kind of just see what sticks, what works. The auctions are are kind of all over the place. I like auctions though, because I like to just put it up there and know within 7 days it's probably going to be gone, sold, and I'll be able to ship it out. Um, so of course it doesn't make sense to do that for certain titles that have more money in them, to just do a buy it now. But excuse me. But yeah, I would. I mean, I like doing the auction so that I can just get rid of a lot of stuff, like that whole crate. I'm basically gonna get rid of that, and freed up the space and that type of thing. So it's August, but mid-August, but people want to buy Christmas CDs. Would that work in May or March, or I don't know? Probably. I'm curious to see, because I have a whole nother 2 huge piles of Christmas CDs in my storage unit. So I'm probably going to get around to those and excuse me, and put those up for sale. But I'll definitely be putting up some closer to the holidays and see if it does better, if they do better closer to the holidays, which I assume they would. But yeah, I think it's just a good idea. Kind of what I came up against with getting into bulk buying is sort of like collecting stuff too much, or rather not just collecting it, but collecting it because I'm putting it off till later and not wanting to deal with it right now. So instead of doing that, I just, what I'm basically doing now is as soon as I have stuff that I can't do for Amazon, I'm putting it together. Seeing if it makes sense individually, and then it's going into a lot, whether it's a mixed genre CD, whether it's in a certain group or artist or type of music. They're going to be sold off a lot as soon as possible, so that they don't take up space. That becomes the issue, is space. And it just becomes a big headache when you have all this stuff sitting around. So you kind of have to be aware of that if you're going to get into, doing eBay or doing bulk, or not just cherry picking, basically, for FBA. Yeah, so there's 80 of you guys here. If you guys have any questions about anything that I'm talking about, please let me know. Probably going to end the video soon because I'm going to have to make dinner here. It's almost 6 o'clock. I'm part of this. You guys maybe have heard of Greg Murphy in Ohio. He has this Bust-Proof weekly, what do you call it, crowdcast thing that he does. Anyway, this time he had a guy on there who is doing, or is looking to switch from his job to Amazon or to FBA full time to replace his income, and he's driving. He's an Uber driver, and he's saying that he's having a hard time making that transition. And I was just hearing, yeah, I was just hearing him talk about how hard it's been to kind of get that rolling and make enough money. And some of the problems he was having are with like restrictions on, he would go to list a book, like textbooks, and he would get restricted on it, which is so strange. I guess there's certain textbooks that have restrictions these days. I haven't come across it yet, thankfully, but I guess that's happening as well. You guys might be experiencing that or have experienced that. But he drives for Uber, and he what do you call it? But he goes to local thrift stores, and he's trying to learn the ropes, and has the app and the scanner and all that stuff and listing software, and he's trying to do it. And I was just looking at his example as like a true world example of somebody trying to make FBA work as a full-time thing. And what Greg said is it's totally possible, and I agree. It's just, I think for what I would say to the guy is, you need to not, I don't know if he's focusing on textbooks, but you need to just focus on quality and quantity and consistency. So, set a goal and say, I'm going to get 50 books. I'm going to source 50 books a week as a bare minimum. Go for more, but I would say 50 to 150 at least, and then ship those books out every week. If you're getting split shipments, try to figure some way out to diminish that, whether it's, you know, trying out AccelerList and trying the private mode, or even trying inventory placement if there's enough profit in the books to do it. But, you know, trying to get those shipments out and get all of those books into the warehouse. Because if you're doing at least 50 a week, 50 source or shipping in 50 books a week, that's 200 a month, which is not a ton, but it's starting somewhere, and you can build on that. So after a month, 200 books in the warehouse. You know, hopefully those books are going to be ones that are going to sell a little faster. That's the other thing I would say to him and to anybody that kind of falls into that category, is you want to focus on, if you're trying to make this like an income, your full-time job or income, you need to focus on turnover, right? You want to get your money back as soon as possible so that you can go buy more books and keep growing your inventory, which is exactly what I did in the beginning. Well, it's always what you do, but you know, it's how you grow it from zero inventory to having 1,000 books in your inventory. So you do want to still find high-priced books that might take a little bit longer to sell. You want to mix those in, but I would say you want to have a higher percentage of books that sell faster. It doesn't mean if it sells fast that it's a lower profit, but there's definitely going to be there's definitely going to be some. Sorry, got distracted. There's definitely going to be some books that are going to be quick sellers but lower profit, but that's okay, as long as there's enough profit, as long as you're actually making a profit, right? As long as you're spending $1 on the book and you're making at least like more than $1. I mean, you know, at least you're making like $2 or $3. You kind of want to know what you're, you know, take into consideration everything: cost of goods, what you're spending on the sourcing, how much you're having to spend on average to ship the items into the warehouse. How long is it taking you to sell your items? Those are things that'll take you a couple of months to figure out. But you know, if you're a couple months in, those are the things you should be paying attention to as you build up your inventory. Because I mean, yeah, we all want $30 average sale price or ASP, but if you're not finding those books all the time, then you got to send in the $12, $11, $15 books, a lot of them, so that you can get cash flow. You're going to have to wait every 2 weeks to get paid from Amazon, just like a job. So you're going to want to have that payout be sizable, and you want to have it grow. So if you go and find 30 books at a thrift store and 20 of them are, you know, only 5 of them are going for over $20, well, does that mean you shouldn't send in the other 25? They're, let's say, all going for like, I don't know, $10, $11 and higher. Let's say $10 to $15. As long as there's profit in there, as long as you're not losing money, then you should probably be sending those in. And if those outweigh the higher ticket ones, then that's what you have to do if you want to build up your income. So that would be my 2 cents to that guy. It sucks, though, in these days that new sellers have to deal with all of these restrictions and these split shipments, because it really makes it difficult to kind of, you know, hit the ground running and send in a lot of books. Because even just, you know, a couple of years ago, you could be 3 months in and have an inventory of over 1,000 books, because you're sending in hundreds of books a week, because you're not getting, you know, you're only getting like maybe 1 or 2 split shipments, if that, and you're not having to deal with restrictions and all that stuff. And, you know, the fees were, of course, lower, but nonetheless. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's the reality. There's just a lot more obstacles that Amazon throws up for a new seller. So if you can manage those, if you can get around those obstacles and still make money, you should be able to do this, and you should be able to create. I mean, I don't see why creating a steady income. I don't see why, if you can send in 50 to 100 books a week, at least 50 within 6 months. I mean, he should be making a nice monthly income. if you're sending in 200 books for a month for 6 months, what is that? 1,200 books. But if you're, if you can get your sell-through rate close to, let's say, 20%, which might be hard when you start because you still don't know exactly what's the best thing to sell. But if you can get it close to that, that's going to be awesome. That means that, out of 200 books, he sells 40 of them in a month, and it grows because as his inventory grows, so then it goes to 80, and then he's selling, over 100 books in a month. If you sell 100 books a month, and let's say you're averaging $5 profit per book, that's $500 in profit. So you sell 200 books, you're making $1,000 a month. These are just, these are numbers I'm pulling out of thin air. But I mean, $5, pure profit might be possible if you're sending in books that are not, if your ASP is a little lower because you're not finding super high value books. If you're finding really high value books and your ASP, your average profit, your profit, not your average sale price, is like double that, is $12 or $15 or something, then, clearly, well, you're finding great books, but not everybody's gonna be able to do that. So, just do the numbers, do the math, and be realistic about it. And you should be able to, or this guy or anybody should be able to make a steady income and replace their income. They just have to be persistent about it. Let's see. All right. I think I'm going to end it, guys. I got to make dinner. Does anyone have any questions, comments? Last couple minutes. If not, I'll probably end the video. There's 12 of you on here. I'm making a pizza. So long time ago, I used to make pizza for a living when I was really young. So yeah, so I'm gonna make. I got some pizza dough and that. So we're gonna make some pizza for the kids, for everybody. Yeah. So I used to be the guy that would toss the pizza in the air. Well, I did a lot of things, but that was one of them. So yeah. So any other questions, guys? Any comments? If not, I will see you tomorrow. And it's, what is today? The 13th. Yeah, the 13th. So in 2 days, long-term storage fees are going to hit. So pay attention to that. Thank you, Thrift School. Just as a last second, if you're not, I mean, it might be a little bit late, but yeah, they suck. Long-term storage fees suck. We're going to have to get rid of some books. You're either going to have to pay for the long-term storage fee, you're going to have to pay to get them destroyed. I don't think you want to get them sent back to you for 50 cents a book. But if you get 100 destroyed, then, $15, not too bad. So yeah, I've been selling, I don't know how many, I have to look, but I'm going to probably, tomorrow is probably when I'm going to, I'm always doing it the last second, but I might wait until the last day to do it. But either tomorrow or Wednesday, I'm going to have to get rid of some books, which, I mean, that's okay. You have to know. So this video is almost over, but you have to know or accept the reality of FBA as there's a certain percentage of items you send in, whatever they are, books, CDs, records, VHS tapes, video games. There's a certain percentage when you're doing these one-off items that are, that are not going to sell, and a lot of it, hopefully, it's not your fault, as in you did not send in a bad product that would not sell for a profit. Usually, it's just, the price goes down, other sellers get on there, too much competition. Usually the demand does not go away if it's an item that has a demand, but that happens sometimes too. There's things out of your control. It's just going to happen. But with all the data, that should be a low percentage. I mean, it should be less than like 10%. Well, maybe 15%. It depends, but depends on exactly what you're sending in. If you're sending in stuff, if you're taking more of a gamble on stuff, then that percentage might be a little higher. So just be aware of that. Those that are watching this live and in the future. Kofi has to get rid of 150 of them. Most of the stuff I'm getting rid of is a little older. I mean, not super old, but like some of it I sent in last year. Most of it I sent in the end of last year, and there's a good amount that I sent in the very beginning of this year. But I've gotten better even since then about what I'm sending in. So we just need to get better about that, streamline our sourcing, or be really picky about it to make sure that we don't have to do this every month or every few months, get rid of a bunch of stuff. We want it to sell. That's the point. All right, guys. So I'm going to go make some pizza, and I'll see you tomorrow. And thanks for tuning in. And as always, remember, guys, keep booking.